What is up, guys? Fadeaway82 coming at you with another edition of Rust Cribs, in which we take a look at some of the more noteworthy base designs during the past wipe cycle on the US Rustopia server. What we're taking a look at right now are bases from last week on Rustopia, and we're starting off with a base design by the LQM clan. It's a beautiful achievement, and they have two giant towers as their crowning achievement here. They span 15 and 16 stories respectively, and that's a really big thing for Rust to put together towers of that scale. Absolutely beautiful base design, and there's a very large footprint. The base itself is surrounded by a wall, which helps keep out the people that you don't want there. And you'll notice that they used every bit of space wisely. So inside that compound, the rocks have been utilized to give them a vantage point both inside and outside that compound. And then the large towers in the center are also going to give them a vantage point at any point in time. Always, guys, when you're building a base, you want to think about how it could be rated, and you want to think about how to defend against that. Panning out and taking a look at it from a bird's eye view in the sky, you can get a sense of just how big those towers are. They really stand out here, and we don't really see things that are that prominent when we're this high in the sky. Taking a closer look at those towers, you'll notice that the ledges are on there to help soak up rockets and mitigate against ladders, and again, it's an absolutely beautiful base design. And now we're taking a look at a base that was put together by Doc Holliday, Dirt McGirt, the Ewok clan, and a bunch of other individuals as well. They built a base on top of the Death Star or the Globe Monument, and this is the last of its kind, guys. As of the recent iteration of Rust, you can no longer build on monuments, especially on the Death Star due to the changes to that monument. So it's great we're taking another look at this. We saw just how difficult a base like this can be to raid in the World War Rustopia raid camp, so it's probably a good thing that it was patched, but I'm glad we're taking another look at it, and Globe bases will fondly be remembered on the US Rustopia server. Let's take one final look at it, guys. Absolutely beautiful. Now we're taking a look at a base called the New Spawn Haven, which was put together by a Rust social worker named Harmony on the US Rustopia server. Absolutely a beautiful base that was put together here, and it's more of, instead of a base for particular players, it's an area where new spawns can come together, find supplies, learn how to play the game, learn a little bit about the Rustopia server, and this is a really cool thing to see, that sense of community that's fostered on big servers like Rustopia. This was a very fun spot, lots of interesting interactions occurred here, and this is a really good thing to see that, you know, players can put their resources into something other than a base that they're just using for their own purposes. Always fun to see stuff like this, and Harmony, hope you keep it up, hope we can see more stuff like this in the future. Keep up the good work, absolutely good stuff. Now we're taking a look at something that went a bit south. This was a rad town. Some players took advantage of the radiation that's not in the game right now. It was supposed to be a general store, but it sort of devolved into a bit of an arena, and many fights were held here, and it didn't turn out as originally intended. But it was supposed to be a general store, but we know how things like that tend to go in Rust. Steve-O and crew put together a Rust penitentiary this go around on the Rustopia server. Go ahead and check out Vertigo's channel, we'll link it in the comments for more of an insight into this location.
Locked up like a common criminal.
And now we're moving over to the Arctic biome and taking a look at a base that's still under construction here that's being put together by a clan. As of the recent iteration of Rust and some recent changes that have gone into the game, biomes are much more important now in that certain resources are more likely to spawn in biomes. So you're going to find high quality metal more likely in the Arctic biome, and where you place your quarries might be where you're going to put your base. That may have been what happened here, so you're going to have to sort of build around that terrain. This is good stuff though, and it's much needed in the game. Taking a look at a base over here that also is under construction, just take a look, guys, at all those pillars so you can just get a sense of what type of scope these bases have. They're absolutely massive in their scale, and when you take a look at just those individual pillars, you can really see the effort and the time that the players put into it. With this base, there is a wall of spikes that surrounds the first floor of it, and you'll notice there's a modified bridge system here that the players use to get in and out of the base. We are taking a look at this base at night, kind of adds to the overall atmosphere. And like the winter biome, the desert biome is going to be more likely to yield a particular resource in terms of oil in the current iteration of Rust. So taking a look at a compound that's out here in the desert, you'll notice there are various quarries that are set up here, or actually oil jacks rather, pump jacks that are used to harvest that oil. So likely the oil was found for this base, which is why this base was placed here. Now again, with that change to how the resources spawn in the game and where you can find them, it really determines where people are going to be building their bases. So it makes it a little more selective in that you don't have as much choice in terms of the landscape, so you kind of have to build around those areas. You can have mining stations that are separate from your main base, but chances are if you get a hold of some oil or high quality metal, you're going to want to have a main base by that location. The The most notable feature here is that tower that we were just taking a look at. You'll notice there was a sleeping bag and a crate ready to go. That means that there were players who were ready to hop into action if they were being raided. Get right up in that tower at a moment's notice. There were things housed in that crate like bolt actions, AKs, rounds of ammo, med kits, things of that nature. You always want to have go bags ready, go crates ready, whatever you want to call it when a raid's about to go down, because you certainly will get raided in Rust. Moving back over to the winter biome, we're taking a look at a base that used the landscape wisely, and they built on the edge of a cliff that's very hard to traverse. Really great stuff. I always like seeing players integrate their bases into the landscape, and while this one's under construction, I really like the direction that it's taking. It was put together by a few players, so the amount of time and effort they put into it was substantial. I really like the scope of it, and I really like where it was going, especially the integration of the base into the landscape. That winter biome's a little bit harder to live in, but it also makes it harder for raiders to access. So really good stuff, guys, and again, always consider the theme for this raid, Rust Cribs video rather, is biomes. Consider the biomes you're building in. Taking a look at a base here, what we're taking a look at is a base that was put together with various ledges to mitigate against rockets and also ladders. You'll notice it is an active base, has yet to be raided, and there are players on guard duty. You'll notice what they're doing here is they're using the perimeter walls, the stone walls in particular, to layer up the outer part of the base. So they're using those new perimeter walls to help soak up rockets and C4, and the stone walls are certainly going to be really helpful in that endeavor. You'll notice behind it is an armored tier, so the walls are really important in this iteration of Rust. Now we're moving over and we're taking a look at some interiors of bases. We're not showing off too much here, and we are hiding player names so that no one can put two and two together. Again, these bases were a week old, so we're not violating any security, but take a note of the signs here and how players use signs inside. We just saw one with two different colors. Only the people inside know what those colors mean. One door might lead to a trap, the other might lead to something valuable. And the signs up here are indicative of the same thing. We don't know what these symbols mean, but the homeowners do. So really interesting to see how the inside of the bases turn out. Alright guys, I really hope you enjoyed this edition of Rust Cribs. Sorry it was a little bit late. I get tied up with some personal stuff this week. I'm going to bring you more raid cams and more Rust footage. As always, stay tuned. Fado82, peace.
Hey, go crawl back into your mother's fucking vagina, you piece of shit. Get the fuck out of my sight. I want to see your disgusting face around this fucking property, you piece of shit.